Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how you doing? How's your mama? How's your family? We back with another one. Today we got MMA Shade. Arman Tsarukyan has only one chance to beat Islam Makhachev. I've been very vocal about this fight. We have a couple videos on the channel. You can navigate for those. I feel like Islam is one of those athletes to where he needs the challenge, right? Or he'll get bored. You know, he fought Dustin Poirier. Yeah, I fought Dustin Poirier, brother, but he don't deserve title shot. He went in there, he didn't take DP serious, and he said this himself. It was hard. The fight was hard. DP gave him a hard time. You know, brother. Okay, I fight Volkanovski again. He fight good. It's little guy, brother. This little guy. First time he was little guy. Oh, Australia have no wrestling. Volk goes in there and fucking takes him to war. You know? This is the first time he's ever said, okay, number one contender. This guy deserves this guy number one contender. And I think we'll see the best Islam Makhachev we've ever seen. Right? When Islam knows he's fighting that motherfucker, Islam becomes that motherfucker. Similar to how when he was fighting Charles Oliveira the first time, fucking smashed him. Charles Oliveira is my second favorite fighter of all time. Fucking smashed him. Okay? It wasn't close. And then when the rematch came along, he's like, but I already beat this guy, brother. I dominate. I smashed him. You know? He fought Arman already. He took Arman light. He didn't know who Arman was. He's saying this himself. Now he knows who Arman is. And now Arman's the rightful number one contender. Then we're going to see the best Islam Makhachev we've ever seen. And now I want to see MMA Shay's opinion on this fight. I've yapped enough. I'm going to let him take it away and react like only I could do.
So it seems like Arman Tsarukyan versus Islam Makhachev has been confirmed for January. The Nurmagomedov MMA School's Instagram has posted about it. And look, if anybody has the inside scoop, it's probably going to be them. But I mean, regardless, you know, this is the fight to make. This is the fight we're all waiting for. And look, there is a lot to be hyped about when it comes to this matchup. For some reason, and I do not understand why, but when it comes to Eastern European athletes, these guys are all so jacked, so athletic,
might be
and
genetics,
muscular,
bro. These motherfuckers,
and girthy and thick and veiny, and their cardio is really, really good. Just, I mean, again, I don't know why that's the case. I mean, you know, you can find jacked athletes all over the world, but for some reason, uniformly, when it comes to Eastern European ones, these guys are just on another level. I mean, you look at their abs, their shoulders, their back muscles, the traps. I mean, these guys are so juicy and veiny, and again, I don't know why this is the case uniformly with these guys. I mean, I simply do not know why. It's anybody's best guess. It's anybody's best guess. But look, when it comes to this matchup, if Islam Makhachev
those
wins,
are big
there's no question he is the
accusations you're
best
throwing.
lightweight to ever walk the planet. To me, that's already not a question. When you look at the level of competition he's gone through, nobody at lightweight has gone through anything close to that. I mean, not even close. But with that being said, does Arman stand the chance here? Look, when you go back to their very first fight.
But evidently, I think Islam's one of the best strikers in the world. I truly mean that. He's very technical. He's very polished. Hard to hit. Great counters. Great kicks. Then you add the fact that he can wrestle. He can defensively wrestle. And maybe his striking will not look as good as it did against a Poirier, who he did outbox. Poirier is my favorite fighter of all time. I'm not ashamed to admit, Islam has dominated my favorite fighters. He outboxed Poirier. Outstriking Alexander Volkanovski. It's like, without the threat, there is a threat of a takedown, but Arman does not see it as much of a threat. Maybe that striking takes a back foot. But if we're still calling the wrestling a wash, we still have to acknowledge Islam is the better pure striker. I don't think this fight will turn out like a Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman, where we see two wrestlers kickbox. I think we'll see complete MMA,
Arman was
complete
22
mixed
years
martial
old.
arts
Islam was
fight.
27. It took place now, God, about 5 years ago. And look, it was clear that Islam more or less had the edge everywhere. But the fight was very, very competitive. And Arman
I'm gonna watch
took
that fight
the
again
on
tonight.
2 weeks' notice, and it was very, very clear. Arman definitely began to fatigue as the fight went on, whereas Islam was a lot fresher, and he was kind of able to coast to a decision. But since that fight, what's changed between these two guys? You know what? Honestly, not a ton. Obviously,
disagree.
both guys are way, way better. But in terms of skill set, I think they're more or less the same.
sounds
I
like a
think
nasty
Arman
fucking
does
striker
have
now.
some aspects of his game that can match up well against Islam, and he has one clear advantage that he's going to have
What
to
is it?
use if he wants any chance of winning this fight. But in terms of some of his attributes, I believe his pure wrestling, his takedowns, his scrambles out in the open are a little bit better. Of course, he comes from a wrestling background, whereas Islam does not.
Islam wants to get you in
and
this
his
cage.
kicks. Arman's kicks are fucking insane.
They're not better than
so
Islam's.
fast. He has so much dexterity. And if you go back to the buildup of their first fight, Arman and his team were saying his kicks were going to make a difference in this fight. They didn't quite do that. In fact, I honestly don't think that Arman uses his kicks to their fullest potential. And of course, that is going to be pivotal when it comes to beating Islam Makhachev potentially. Because when you look at his skill set, in all around
I don't know how winning he's going to be able to throw
he's
that
better
leg
than
up
Arman.
there.
His clinch game, his trips,
'Cause Islam
his
will grab
throws
him
are
in.
better. On the ground, he has better jiu-jitsu, of course, better submissions.
does,
and
100%.
on the feet, he is the all-around better striker. He has better boxing. He's better defensively, better movement. So, look, Arman Tsarukyan, it's going to be really difficult for him to contend with Islam just straight up skill for skill. Especially when you factor in the point
He's
that
gonna have to
Arman's
find positions and
wrestling
win key
advantage
moments.
probably isn't an advantage enough for him to have any significant success
There
with
it
it.
is,
Again,
yeah.
I think he'll probably want to keep his wrestling in his back pocket. He'll probably want to
He'll
threat
shoot.
with it. But you go
He'll
back
shoot.
and you look at their very first fight, which again I think holds a lot of precedence to what we'll see in the future. Neither guy was really able to find any success with the wrestling. They're just too close in that area. I mean, you look at some of these scrambles. Both of these guys were working so hard to kind of
watch that
just
fight tonight.
stalemate with each other. And that's why I think Islam, there is not a shot he shoots.
Islam got taken down once.
No shot. Again, you go back and you look at this fight with Volkanovski. I'm sure Islam was of the mind
Islam will
during
shoot.
that matchup that he was just going to go in there and he was going to smash this tiny featherweight. Well,
That's what he
look,
thought.
What he learned was
Australia have no
Islam's
wrestling, brother.
elite skills that he brings to the table is cardio for days, an absurd amount of willpower, and really good get-ups from the bottom. And look, Islam had success with the grappling, but at the end of the day, what the Dagestani grappling does is break you. That is what it does. It breaks you. It fatigues you. It just crushes you with top pressure to a point where you kind of end up mentally giving up. That's what's happened to so many guys in the past. But Volkanovski is just unbreakable. You're not going to outpace him. You're not going to out-cardio him. Whatever kind of pressure you put on him, he's going to match it, and he
you'll have to finish
outlasted
him.
Islam to such an
You'll have to
extent
catch
that
him.
in the
Put him away.
rematch, he just didn't even try. Didn't see a point in it. He kept the fight on the feet, won via knockout. I think it's going to be very similar here. Why would Islam want to waste energy shooting takedowns on Arman, who frankly has a slight advantage in that area, and it's going to be, one, insanely hard to get down. Even if you do get him down, good luck actually controlling
Not gonna keep him
from the
down,
bottom.
yeah, no.
I mean, Islam at one point had Arman 100% in full mount, and it took him about 20 seconds to scramble right back to his feet. If Islam is
That's
grappling
nuts.
at all during this match, it's going to come from the clinch. He's going to be looking for trips like he did initially. I would say most likely Islam's not going to try to throw Arman. I mean, again, Arman Tsarukyan, I've said this many times, he's a jacked hamster. He's very short, compact, bulky. That's, a very difficult body type to work your judo with. And two, when someone's smaller than you, it's harder to get them loaded up on your hips. It's harder to get lower than them. That's why, a foot sweep is probably what Islam's going to be looking for. And it's a very, very threatening technique because, for one, it's super low effort. And for two, In the clinch, he's just waiting for you to throw a knee so he can trip you. That's
Yeah, it
the
is, yeah.
best time to hit a foot sweep is right off your opponent's knee. So when Islam has you in the clinch and he's just spamming knees on you, it's making you want to return one, but then you're just playing into his game. So in terms of grappling, that is where Islam is going to want to keep this fight. And on the feet,
What's
he's gonna
Arman's
wanna
real chance,
circle,
though? What's
he's
his
gonna
one
wanna stay
chance?
on the outside and use his superior movement and defense and boxing to land shots and then back away and stay safe. Now, Arman Tsarukyan, what he needs to do
Tell me.
is spam kicks, but he needs to spam kicks in a very particular way. When you go back and you look at their first fight, all he did was throw head kicks. He threw a bunch of head kicks and the occasional leg kick. Look, that's great, but if you only target the head, which honestly Arman typically only does, it's going to be pretty easy to defend. It's just that simple. What he needs to do is rip him to the body. I want some fucking fully untorqued body kicks, just put everything into it. Even if Islam blocks it, just smashes arms with these kicks. And that is when you start opening up with the head kicks. So that's exactly what Islam did to Volkanovski to set up.
He's not a better kicker than Islam. Islam's a great
kicks to
kicker.
the body, eventually
He's underrated.
brought it up to
Islam's
the head.
kicker.
We talked
Kicking.
about this with Ilya Topuria recently, how one of the elite skills he brings to the table is his guard. He's able to defend his body and his head at the same time, and it makes it really difficult to have success with your kicks against him. But Islam does not have this ability. Islam needs to choose whether or not he's defending the body kick or defending the head kick. And somebody with the kicking proficiency of Arman Tsarukyan needs to be utilizing his
That'd be
kicks
fucking nuts if
mixing them
Arman
up.
fucking head kicked Islam, KO'd him.
His
Holy
team
shit.
needs to get on him about this. Arman, if you want, look, dude, Arman, if you need to, dude, get me in there, man. I don't talk about it super frequently, but when I was a child, I was a Taekwondo prodigy. I was one of the better kids in the class. And I'm telling you, your level of kicking proficiency is out of this world, but you are neutering your game only targeting head kicks. With the amount of speed you have, it is so difficult for your opponent to read where this kick is going. So you gotta mix it up. You gotta mix it up. And on top of that, you know, we have seen in the past, of course, Arman has a lot of power. If he lands clean on you with a shot you just don't see coming, he can put you out with one punch. He needs to be looking to either land one big shot against Islam or again mix up the kicks. That is how he can potentially win this fight. Now look, so to me, that is where this fight really boils down to. Of course, the closer we get to the fight, I'll do a definitive breakdown and we'll look at all the intricate details of both of these guys. But, you know, in terms of just overall skill sets, in terms of an early breakdown, to me, that's where this fight comes down to. Islam, of course, is going to be the heavy favorite. I think all around he's better. I think all around he's more skillful. But Arman has a few very key advantages that if he uses correctly, you know, he can beat anybody. And, you know, of course, I'll be lying if I didn't tell you that I really don't like Oliveira's chances against Islam. I think Islam is a horrible matchup for my guy Charles.
He is.
But I think Arman Tsarukyan. Now, Arman Tsarukyan, Charles could beat. Charles, in my opinion, should have beaten him the first time. It was a very close fight, of course, but in a 5-round fight, come on, Charles has beaten Arman Tsarukyan. So I've got to root for Arman here. I just fucking got to root for Arman because that is Charles' only chance to get back to the belt. And God, oh man, please make this happen because I'm telling you, Islam Makhachev, I don't like that for Charles. I don't like that for Charles.
Islam,
that's just not a
but
good
if that's the
matchup.
case, Islam would get an immediate rematch, which he would. I mean, unless you think Islam goes up to 170, brother, I want my second belt, which is a possibility. But Islam's a guy, he's gonna want to get that back for legacy, brother. And would Arman beat him again? I don't know. So either way, you know.
But he can beat Arman. So we need Arman to win. We need Arman to beat Islam. And Arman, I'm telling you, dude, you need a Taekwondo prodigy in your corner, bro. I got you. I can help you out, man. I can help you out.
Man, help out that algorithm, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Damn. They ready for that shit? You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get about here, man. Oh, yay!